Okay. Yes? I think we're good. Okay. Sometimes I wish I had a broken bone, you know? I'd know how long I'd be in a cast, doctor's appointments scheduled, just a few months for my body to heal itself. I'd have everyone sign a brightly colored plaster. Get well soon! Love you! I could explain the entire story in as much detail as I wanted, and the best part is, everyone would simply get it. I've bought the face masks, I've tried tea, tried downloading apps like I was told. Now I'm some number of dollars short and still feeling the same. I realized something was off when my mind began to forget itself. My brain begins reaching for a mere trick of the light on the top shelf, and in surprise, with my feet inching off the ladder, I find that it's become a void. Simple things like that one happy day in a past November, that one trip taken when I was 13. Times I held dear, or current truths past Genesis, slip away into a land of its own that's far beyond my own capability. I eternally grasp at nothing, for it is lost before I could even register its disappearance. I never anticipated that one day I'd find a memory of a feeling that fails to name itself. And so there's a fundamental loss in translation. Real and delusion blend sticky like it drips from my ears and lays all over me until it takes over my breath and movement, and with contained chaos from the constraint of bones and skin cells takes a form of time so complex and so full of truths and secrets that are all mine, and I am simply losing all comprehension or access to them. None of this makes sense, even if I wanted it to. I can bury my face in books and challenges, and I could be of some intellectual truth, but there's no fathomable theory or idea that could tell you all about this chemical activity inside my own head, all this space it takes up, and I can't tell you if it's ever full or has the fearful possibility of ever expanding. Going through motions again and again, it is only through silent or late pockets that I look for my meaning in it all. I go again and again, more and more, because I somehow tell myself that it'll be different one time. I search my over-observed actions for a new side every single time. Same good turns to same old, and I lay down to rest and confusion and escape from motion. When I put a word to the idea, all I can think of is blue, and those ridiculous reenactments you see in commercials. I can't think of it and give myself more compassion and attention that is probably customary and ideal. Up inside my head, I only hear my own voice, and while I used to hold it all and command the neurons inside, the power and dynamic has flipped and has me serving them. And as much as I wish this was easy or even possible, if I told you, both of our minds would go back to those dumb commercials, whether we mean to or not. And even if we walked past that inevitably awkward moment, you don't want to hear it, and I don't want to hear it. I fear the look on your face or the judgment you may never speak out loud when I tell you that second nature and easy things have become a climb only fit for the person I was before. I love you, I promise, but I'm sorry I hold this back and put something else in front instead, even if it hurts us both the same. How beautifully terrifying that there's a world on both sides of our eyes. I find that they can be mere copies, or that there's just a sliding glass wall between both. But they can also be as non-synonymous as night and day. One can be as still as nothing moves, when you can also find yourself unable to stand still in whatever way. I've grown to not like mirrors. You sit behind the guise of your own vision, and every single day it's only reverberated back to you in a mirror. You only see half of what the world sees, and it's the part you almost never see. The strange and oppositional flip-flop always seemed so funny to me, and I can never be fully at peace with it. I hate the sound of my voice in recordings. I hate that I sit here day in and day out until every part of me is gray and stripped of all juice and novelty until I'm left with only the worst or most unmentionable parts. I sit and crumble in my current condition, and that's where the scenes of past moments grace my head like a memory baked from unsuspecting ingredients and feelings. What maybe occurred mixes and morphs with what I wished and what I would have liked, and even if the actuality lies in tears and broken ties, I hold it all as my evidence of doable times. I can't bear anymore to sit and acknowledge my breath and fully understand the right here and the right now in this disgusting state of mundane. But now tell me, do I fall into nostalgia and let its arms guide me with their escapist comfortability and let myself get farther away than its memory? Or do I turn a blind eye and say, gotta move on? I find myself living in the past as I progress into the future. The oxymoronic feeling of it all overwhelms me and leaves me bored yet unwilling to fight for anything different. I feel unrelenting exhaustion from my bones to the ceiling above me, and I can throw myself in foreign feelings and people just to distract me from this nightmare of a revelation. I was going 200 miles a minute, and I would gratefully add 100 more if it would for once change something and not leave an aftertaste that already employs my mouth. I want more, even though the exhaustion from my soul remains the one thing keeping me from it. I sit here aware of all these happenings of mine, and for every reason under the sun it makes things worse, because unlike a trick of memory, there is no denial that this is real. I found that it's possible for good things, good people to hold true with their own presence and being. The problem is me and my brain that tells me the leverage falls through. How selfish that one's own existence feels like a roadblock. How selfish of me. How highly must I think that nothing is enough when everything is here. How silly and unreasonable it feels that I hold all the burdens of my world and it persists unnoticed until I say it does. How small yet infinitely large and expansive I've understood that as elusive as all this profound and livable joy seems to my own mind, it exists, and yet I repel it through my own power or not. And even through it all, I sit here in all this existential garbage, and it sounds ridiculous, but the most open I've ever been. I'll never get these moments again once they pass. Days I've wasted, things I regret pile on, and it only adds to the ringing in my ears. The world never stops, but I hope it would. Just for a second. For a second, the road would be a little clearer, a few weights lifted for a second. I'm never asking for it all, just enough. Enough for this paradoxical existence and state of mind to for once be quiet and not question such. My internal mission is never the how but the why. Autopilot and impulse make movement, but my emotions remain unnamed and the unspecified motivation for things I don't understand. How powerful is the almost tangible nothingness of your emotion but the speck of a chemical? A noise you make for yourself, all in your brain.